Take up matter to do with the minutes of the regular meeting for April the 25th, 2013. Acceptable.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
And two items for the board's ratification. For ratification, the issuance of the following license, which was issued on May 1st. A special one-day license for wines only to Steve Syverson, the president of the Arts League of Lowell, Inc., for premises at 307 Market Street. The event was the Arts League of Lowell Gallery Grand Opening, Saturday, May 11th, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. For ratification, the issuance of the following licenses on May 15th. Walter Bendecourt of the Holy Ghost Society for event at Holy Ghost Park, 65 Village Street, for the Holy Ghost Pentecost Feast, Sunday, May 19th, from 12 noon to 10 p.m. Also, Walter Bendecourt of the Holy Ghost Society for a special events permit for amplification of sound system for band disc jockey for the Holy Ghost Pentecost Feast, for Sunday, May 19th, from 12 noon to 10 p.m. on the outdoor grounds of the Holy Ghost Park at 65 Village Street. And last is, for ratification by the board, is a public amusement license. The amendment of the license for Carnival granted March 14th, 2013, and issued May 6th, 2013, to Dean and Flynn, Inc., doing business as Fiesta Shows of Seabrook, New Hampshire, John A. Flynn, representative, for the Carnival scheduled Regatta Field, Pawtucket Boulevard. The dates and hours amended as follows: Wednesday, May 22nd to Friday, May 24th, 2013, from 6 p.m. to 10 to 11 p.m. Saturday, May 25th, from 12 noon to 11 p.m., and Monday, May 27th, from 12 noon to 8 p.m. Now, John Flynn of Fiesta Shows had filed application on May 3rd to amend that license granted March 14th by adding the date May 22nd and canceling the dates from May 28th to June 1st, 2013.
Well, all these individuals have appeared before us before, and we haven't had any issues with them.
Right.
So.
I was wondering if Steve Syverson was here, because I think this is our first wine-only Arts League action, isn't it?
Yes.
If Steve was here to tell us how it went? Apparently not.
I had spoken with him, and he anticipates maybe filing in the future again for a series of additional dates. I didn't request that he be present here today, so for that reason,
It's fine. The
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
the Fiesta Show, I mean, don't they do this every year?
Every Memorial Day weekend, they usually have an extended period. It's almost to 2 weeks. But for some reason, they've decided to cut back this year, and they've cut it back by a week.
After the weather we're having, they probably want to extend it again.
Should have come in earlier, but I move that we ratify these three.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Now, with the regular meeting, with respect to special one-day license application for malt beverage and wine only, for either one, James Demetri of the Transfiguration Greek Orthodox Church for premises at 25 Father John Sarantos Way. The event is the Transfiguration Church Festival, Friday, June 14th, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Saturday, June 15th, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Also, Cynthia Kunzler of All Sports Heroes Uniforms, Sporting Goods Promotions, Inc., for Saturday, June 15th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The event is the Safari Land Training, a private function to be held at 18 First Street. Penny Hamagas of the Worthen Cafe for enclosed parking lot at 152 Worthen Street for the Worthen Block Party for Friday, June 7th, from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m., and also for the block party, which is Saturday, June 8th, from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Madeline Bove of the Lowell Lodge of Elks grounds at 40 Old Ferry Road for the Elk Fest Benefit Music Festival for Saturday, June 22nd, from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Could you introduce yourself for the record? If you could come to the podium and introduce yourself.
James Dimitri from the Transfiguration Church.
Is Step up. Don't be afraid.
Madeline Bovier from the Lowell Lodge of Elks.
Cynthia Kunzler, All Sports Heroes.
Penny Hamburger, Swarthen House Cafe.
Up to the podium, everybody surrounded. How many have had a one-day license before? I know Penny has, I know him. All right, so for Madeline, a one-day license.
Yes,
The license is in your name,
correct.
okay? You have sole control over the, this goes for both of you. This is, you have sole control over the license. It's not in All Sports Promotions' name. It's not in the Elks' name. It's your licenses, okay? You have complete control over the sale of alcohol. If anybody you feel is overserved or you don't feel right about it, you're the one that tells them it's not happening, okay? Make sure the license is posted. Are you guys hiring a bartender service?
We're going to do volunteers, because it's a benefit that day, so we're going to have the bar outside for beer and wine, a tap for beer and wine, and we're going to have an outdoor bartender volunteering.
Okay,
No bartender for me, we're just serving beer only, and we're not selling it, we're just offering it.
well, just make sure that you have the Lowell Police on your cell phones, not the 911, but the actual Lowell Police Department number, and it goes for all of you. And I wish you good luck with the events. Anybody else has any comments?
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commission will now take up applications for special one-day license application for all alcoholic beverages. Walter Benton Court of the Holy Ghost Society for Holy Ghost Park, 65 Village Street, for events Trinity Feast, Saturday, May 25th, from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. The Trinity Feast for Sunday, May 26th, from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Trinity Feast for Monday, May 27th, from 12 noon to 10 p.m. Also, the Brazilian Night for Saturday, June 1st, from 9 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. St. Anthony's Feast for Saturday, June 8th, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., and St. Anthony's Feast for Sunday, June 9th, 12 noon to 11 p.m. Susan Lawrenson of the Lowell Lodge of Elks Grounds of 40 Old Ferry Road for Lodge Summer Campfire Kickoff for Saturday, June 15th, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Hawaiian Luau Campfire, Saturday, July 27th, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Campfire Cookout for Saturday, August 17th, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., and the end-of-season campfire for Saturday, October 5th, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
If you could introduce yourself for the record.
Susan Lawrenson, Lowell Lodge of Elks.
And is Walter Betancourt here?
Walter Betancourt, Holy Ghost Society.
Okay. And how about Stephen Craig?
Okay, if I may.
Oh, that's the one that's,
Mr. Craig has withdrawn his application.
That's right.
And that was brought to my attention
Okay.
early this afternoon.
all right, great. Okay, Mr. Betancourt, I know you've had licenses before. How about Ms. Lawrenson?
No.
No, okay. Well, you heard my speech to the applicants before. Again, it's your license, okay? So make sure that you have the Lowell Police on speed dial and the license posted, and you are in control of what's going on at the Elks that evening. Okay? Anybody has any questions? Or?
No. Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Good luck.
Mr. Betancourt, have a seat, please. Commission will now take up matters to do with applications for special event permits for amplification of sound, starting with James Dimitri of the Transfiguration Greek Orthodox Church for sound system for band for the Transfiguration Church Festival for Friday, June 14th, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Saturday, June 15th, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., church grounds at 25 Father John Sorrento's Way. Also, Walter Benton Court of the Holy Ghost Society for the outdoor grounds of the Holy Ghost Park at 65 Village Street for sound system for band, disc jockey for the following events. For Trinity Feast, Saturday, May 25th, from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. For the Trinity Feast on Sunday, May 26th, from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. The Trinity Feast for Monday, May 27th, from 12 noon to 10 p.m. St. Anthony's Feast for Saturday, June 8th, from 4 PM to 11 PM, and St. Anthony's Feast for Sunday, June 9th, from 12 noon to 10 PM. Also, we have Dean Easterling of the event manager at the Global Spectrum Song Center, 300 Martin Luther King Jr. Way, a sound system for live music at the Song Center Backyard Music Series, with the dates June 27th, July 11th, July 18th, August 1st, August 15th, August 22nd. Each event, each date will have 6 PM to 8 PM. This will be located at the Sanger Center North Lawn. Also, Madeline Bover of the Lowell Lodge of Elks for a sound system for 5 bands called Free Spirit, Groove Syndicate, The Stir, Cornerstone, and Mike Kendall on acoustic. The Elk Fest Benefit Music Festival is Saturday, June 22nd, from 1 PM to 8 PM. And it is, yes, okay, and that's that. And then, last but not least, is Penny Hammergas for the Worthen House Cafe for the Worthen Block Party, which is at 152 Worthen Street, for Friday, June 7th, from 6 PM to 12 midnight. And also for June 8th, which is Saturday, from 5 PM to 12 midnight, also at the parking lot at 152 Worthen Street.
You can introduce yourself for the record.
James Dimitri from the Transfiguration Church.
Dean Easterling with the Songus Center.
Madeline Bover from the Lowell Lodge of Elks.
Penny Hamburgers, Worthen House Cafe.
Walter Bettencourt, Holy Ghost Society.
Okay. The,
I got a question.
yeah?
So there's no music for the Brazilian night
There is music inside.
inside? Okay, thank you.
All right, so the amplification of sound permit is a common sense license. You know, if we're having it at Holy Ghost, we don't want to hear it in the Highlands. We don't want to hear the Worthen in Pawtucketville, et cetera, et cetera. We got to be good neighbors. Especially the Trinity Feast and St. Anthony's Feast, those are both school nights. And the amplification goes to 10 o'clock, so make sure you keep it low.
I told Mr. Nguyen that wherever our hour says we want to go back half an hour, I'm going to try to go back half an hour earlier than it's supposed to be.
That's fine, but 9:30 is still late for, kids going to school the next day. That's all. You guys have done a great job of turning around what was a problem situation. So I'm just pointing it out, that just be aware of that time. Other than that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
And for those who expect licenses, I'll have them ready tomorrow morning. Do you want to come by to pick
Okay,
them up
all set?
tomorrow morning? Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
With respect to item number 7, the application for the Lowell Post number 87, the American Legion, for change of manager, I respectfully ask the commission to consider continuing this matter to June the 6th. It wasn't until late this afternoon it came to my attention that circumstances beyond the control of the License Commission, certainly, but circumstances which necessitate compliance with the open meeting law, ask that the board continue this matter, and I've been in touch with the proposed new manager for the American Legion, Kathleen Farley, and she understands the situation, and she is prepared to come before the License Commission at our next regular meeting, which is anticipated to be June the 6th.
So moved.
Make a motion to move it to June 6th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Commission now take up the application by the Lowell Lodge, number 87, BPO Elks of USA, for change of manager from Ronald P. Lowe to Susan Lawrenson of Drake, Mass. The Elks Club is an all-alcoholic beverage club licensee for premises at 40 Old Ferry Road.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Susan Lawrenson, Lowell Lodge of Elks.
Okay. Susan, have you ever managed a club before?
Yes.
Okay, and whereabouts?
Tewksbury, Wilmington Elks in Tewksbury, and Sangria's in downtown Lowell.
Okay, so you're aware of all the Massachusetts general laws and the rules and regulations of the Commonwealth relative to service of alcoholic beverages and the operation of clubs?
Yes.
Okay, great. Did you ever have any issues when you were in those other establishments?
No.
No. It's good to hear. Do you have to sign in when you go to the Elks now?
Guests have to sign in.
Do they-
Members have their cards
If you're a
to get
member,
in.
how do you get in?
You have your card that buzzes at the door.
Okay, great. And then the guests sign in?
They sign in with their member.
Okay, great.
No question.
Okay. Make a motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
This will be sent to Boston.
Yeah, it's gotta be approved by the ABCC, so Mr. Lowe is still the manager of record until it's approved by the ABCC. You are not the manager until it's approved by the Alcohol Beverages Control
Okay.
Commission. So you will get that notification from the city, and then you will be the manager. But as of right now, you're not the manager of
Okay.
record. Okay?
Thank you.
Commission will now open a hearing on the allegations of misconduct as charged by previous superintendent of police, but now the interim superintendent confirms the notice of allegations, Deborah Friedel, against the licensee known as Puff Inc., doing business as Seed Spot Bar, and Claude Charlotte is the manager of record, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 171 Lakeview Avenue.
Good evening.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Andrew LaCourse on behalf of Mr. Charlotte.
Claude Charlotte, manager of Seed Spot Bar.
I'm
Would-
sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Andrew LaCourse.
Would you like the complaint read into the record?
Please.
Okay. If we could.
We can do an abbreviated version. You don't have to read the whole
Okay.
thing. Just the gist of the charges
All right.
themselves. That's-
Captain Webb, if you could summarize the complaint, that'd be great.
Mr. Chairman, on March 7th of this year, Sergeant Noon and Detective Kandrotis with the Special Investigations Section were assigned to investigate activities at the C-Spot at 171 Lakeview Ave. Lieutenant Goldner had received information regarding underage patrons and the sale of alcoholic beverages which had not been purchased from a licensed distributor. At 10:15 p.m. on that evening, Sergeant Noon observed Claude Charlotte, the manager, enter the bar. Mr. Charlotte then returned to his vehicle and removed a box and carried the box inside. Sergeant Noon and Detective Kandrotis then entered the bar and spoke to Mr. Charlotte and learned that he had carried in 6 187 milliliter bottles of Zinfandel wine from his car into the bar. Mr. Charlotte told him that he had brought the wine from home and denied that it was for sale. Sergeant Noon also noticed that warning notices required by Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Sections 34A and 34D were not present in the bar as required. And I would also like to point out that Mr. Charlotte already also appeared before the License Commission for violations of a similar type on, violations took place on June 28th, 2012, and July 6th, 2012. Sergeant Noon and Detective Kandrotis are here if you'd like to hear from them.
Okay, great. Attorney LaCourse? Sure.
It's just a copy of invoice. The record that evidence of purchases of alcohol from a licensed distributor. I think there may have been some miscommunication. Mr. Charlotte was indicating that he had taken some of the bottles home. If you look at the document to the left, about halfway down on the left where it says 2, there's a little check mark, 286, I think milliliter Woodbridge White Zinfandel 10-6 4-pack. So it's a case of wine. He purchased this wine in the beginning of the year, as you can see from the date in the upper right-hand corner. It was, let's see, actually, it was purchased actually prior to the end of the year, and the invoice was due in the beginning of the year. The wine wasn't selling. He had one case of wine that sat in his establishment from approximately November 23rd until sometime.
Okay, somewhere in February.
And sometime in February, he did take a small number of bottles home. I believe he still has 1 or 2 of those bottles. Since then, he has actually purchased the same wine on an invoice, actually dated 3/12.
Yes.
Similar to that, here's just a copy of an invoice dated March 12, 2013. That was being due on 4/26. And the same purchase of the Woodbridge, the White Zinfandel 10-6/4-pack. So, and the reason for introducing these is the same. There are 2 bottles that left. It wasn't purchased. It was purchased through a distributor. Mr. Charlotte did take it and bring it to his home, his residence. It wasn't selling. At some point, one of his bartenders, and he can explain to you how it happened, it requested that.
Well, no, my bartender asked me to place an order for some wine. I said, well, I took some home, and because your guys, it's not moving. And I said, well, I can bring it back, and if you guys are able to move it, I'll place another order for you guys. And that's the reason why, because I've been here plenty of time, and I know I'm not supposed to buy from the store. You know, I have done that because I was misled by my accountant. And since then, I've corrected that. And I got all my receipt from all my distributor. And I know better not to go to the store and get anything like that.
And I do believe 2 of the bottles there in question we still have, and it's easily traceable back to the order because of the SKU numbers on the bottles can be traced right back to this purchase order. I didn't have the time to go through the company and actually do that because there's a SKU number on the scan of the barcode that's actually on the bottle can be traced right back to, I think, this particular order. So that can be, if the board required further information, I'd be happy to go through Horizon's beverage company and try to link that to further prove that it wasn't purchased at another location. And in addressing the issue about the signs, I know my client had requested that some signs be provided, and he did receive them, I believe, May 20th. I was over at the establishment last night. He has signs that aren't required. He has a number of signs that say under 21 or actually, I don't want to guess. Let me look at the photographs. There are numerous signs throughout the premises that indicate that no one is going to be served. Mass driver's license required for service, no ID, no admittance, and these are plastered through the entire place. There must be, I'd say, 10 or 15 of them. He does have the signs that are issued by the ABCC. He received them. He has the signs that they outline all the penalties under the OUI law. While the signs are probably a little dated, some of the information isn't technically correct. He has the signs that the board wants him to have. He has other signs addressing and informing his patrons of the punishment for having open containers, outside the establishment, and indicating the penalties for that. There's a third sign also that it addresses. Give me 1 second. I don't want to guess. It addresses underage drinking and what the penalties for underage drinking. So he has all the signs that are required. They're up there. There are 3 of the signs that address underage drinking. There are 3 signs that address what the penalties for having open containers are. And there are 2 of the largest signs that are about approximately 3 feet by 3 feet that delineate all the punishments and penalties under Mass General Law 90, Section 24 for drinking and driving. So all the signage is there, and I think he has some of his own signs that were made. It is very clear that if you don't have a license and you're not 21, and the laws are all posted. So I think he's addressed those issues. And as far as underage drinking, my client is not aware of any incident. I know the complaint is somewhat vague in terms of receiving information. It's hard for him to curb that kind of activity. As a manager, he's there every minute the bar is open. He's not relying on someone else. So if it was a time and a place and a person, he could address the issue or address if there was a specific bartender. While the complaint says there was underage person being served, there's no specifics. So my client, if that's happening, he doesn't want it to happen, just as much as this board doesn't want it to happen and the police don't want it to happen. He is of the same mind. He's there to be in business and sell alcohol according to the law and according to the parameters that the licensing commission sets forth for him. And he's done those things, and he's trying to maintain his business in a tough time to keep a business going. I think he's met with the spirit of all the requirements, and he's brought the establishment into compliance. It was inspected most recently by the Board of Health, I believe, on April 25th. If the board is interested in a copy of this certificate of compliance. It's 4/25 of this year that the place had been inspected and is in compliance. I would suggest respectfully to not take any further action against his license and perhaps do a few more spot inspections and make sure these issues aren't recurring, because my client has assured me that he's done everything he can. He's going to do everything he can going forward to make sure none of this repeats itself. I mean, he has the facility the way it ought to be. The signage is clear, and I would ask the board's discretion in not taking his license or imposing any matters that are now suspended from previous hearings.
Sergeant Noon or Detective Kandrotis, either one, both, either way. Could you tell me what you observed that evening?
Yes, basically what my report reflects, we had complaints regarding the establishment serving underage clients or patrons. So we went over there around 9 o'clock. We set up a surveillance in front of the place. At approximately 10:15, the owner, Mr. Cholo, showed up. Identified him from previous encounters in the place. He went to the rear of his car. He had a cardboard box. He removed the cardboard box from the rear of his car, walked to the rear entrance of the establishment, went in the rear. At that point, myself and Detective Cadores went through the front door to the back of the establishment. We saw him coming from the kitchen storage area, and I asked him to go back and asked him what he just moved into the bar from the car. And he told me that there was several bottles of wine, small bottles of wine. There was about 6 of them. He showed me in the cooler where they were. I asked him what they were there for. He indicated that he bought the wine from home and it wasn't for sale in the bar. So I reminded him last time that he should buy his liquor from a licensed wholesaler, not from anywhere else. At that point, I went to the front of the bar. I did a quick inspection behind the bar. I checked all his licenses. In the bar area, I noticed that the ABC signage was not there. I did notice some handwritten signs by the doors saying that a license required and 21 years old is the age of if you want to drink in the place. But those 3 signs weren't there as required.
And you spoke to him that evening?
I did.
And he told you that the wine that was in the cooler he brought from home?
Correct.
And that it wasn't for sale at the bar?
Correct.
How much is 187 liters in?
It's a tiny bottle. It's probably about that big. It's probably like I estimate to be like one glass of wine.
This is the exact bottle. This is
Oh,
it.
there you
This
go.
is 2 of them. I gave one to the attorney because I know for the fact that every time I don't trust.
You gotta go to the microphone.
Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
I did because I know they always find something against me. If they can find something against me on by level, they find something against me with the Board of Health. Always. So I've been very cautious. And to all due respect, I have known that he's been watching me. I know.
But why would you tell them that they weren't for sale?
I never did tell him.
I think there was an issue of
I never did tell him
miscommunication
that.
on that part.
I would never tell him that. I would never. I bought it from a distributor. I would never tell
Well,
him
if you brought it from a distributor,
Yes.
when you purchase from a distributor, where do they deliver the alcohol?
They deliver everything delivered at the bar.
Okay, so you have a distributor deliver alcohol to your bar,
Yes.
to the C spot,
Yes.
and then you take it home?
If this is how we do it. If it don't move, I can give it to anybody that's want it. Anybody that's because it stay there collecting dust. Officer Noon, we moved a bottle from the bag before, and I was collecting a lot of dust. And this bottle, we don't even serve it. It was just sitting there. So if things that don't move, people can take it because I'm not moving it. I'm not making any money off of it. I would never tell him that I wasn't going to sell that. That's not the case.
How long does the wine or the alcohol typically have to sit there before you move it?
The wine doesn't move that much because I sell more beer and
No, but I'm asking,
alone.
how long before you would take it home with you? How long does that have to sit?
I say at least a month. If you don't sell for a month, what we do, we order what's moving from the bar. We only move because I hate wasting money, and I don't want to buy something that's not moving. So that's why.
Let me ask you this, it's kind of, just looking at these invoices, it's kind of, you say the wine wasn't moving, so you brought it home,
Yes.
but then
The bartender.
5 days after you got caught, you ordered it again?
No, because the bartender had asked me the night that I brought it on. Because the bartender had asked me before that. I said, well, I'm not gonna make any order for you. But you're gonna move that. I will do the order, but you're gonna move that. So that's what I brought.
But if it wasn't moving and you brought it home, why would you order it again? At 5 days after you get stopped by the police?
Well, because you know what we do. If it's not moving, I keep it. All right. But since they want me to some more, I have to be able to move what I have before I can do that for them. I have to be able to sell some stuff.
And I think from the invoices, Mr. Chairman, there was 24 of these that were sold between late November and early March. So there was almost a 5-month period where it didn't move, and he had a request from one of his bartenders to bring it back. And he said the conversation he explained to me is he explained he wasn't going to buy any more. He'd take back the few bottles he had, and if that moved, he'd buy some more, which he did very shortly after, as you can see on the 12th. And I don't know how much stock you still have of that. Do you have any idea how much you still have from that other case that was ordered on the 12th of March?
No, I don't remember.
Detective Kandrotis, do you have anything to add? Or-
I would just concur with Sergeant Noon's testimony. He denied that he was gonna resell the wine.
Okay, you heard that conversation.
That'd be it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, on its face, it seems pretty fishy that you've been caught for this twice before, and then they're watching you, and you take it out and put it back, and then you tell them, now this is 2 police officers saying that you told them you weren't gonna sell it because you brought it from home, and now you're saying that you have this invoice that shows that you allegedly purchased this, and then you brought it home because it wasn't moving, and then 5 days later, you bought it again, even though you just said it wasn't moving?
But because it was at my house. It was at my house. I just kept it there. You know, I don't drink wine, but friends come to my house. You know that the product is not moving. I just take it and give it away. But I never did tell Officer Noon that I wasn't going to sell that. Never.
Does the city have anything to add? No.
Mr. Chairman, Ken Rossetti from the city's law department, together with Kerry Regan. As a preliminary matter, we would point out to the commissioners that under Section 30H of Chapter 138, possession on a licensed premises of alcohol that is not authorized to be sold on a licensed premises is deemed to be prima facie evidence that such beverage is kept for sale in violation of Chapter 138. We believe that what's key here additionally is that we're talking about 3 offenses within the space of less than a year. And this was an establishment that was surveilled 3 times. So basically, this is a 3-for-3 offender, which is very troubling both to LPD as well as to the law department. This is, given the repeat offenses, quite frankly, I don't find the position of the licensee very credible in terms of, on the one hand, saying that night that, you know, that this is my own consumption, it's not for sale, and now he's claiming that it is for sale. It just is not credible, given the repetitive offenses. We believe that this honorable commission should give serious thought to a significant suspension, if not revocation of the license, given the repeated offenses. In fact, as just a preliminary matter, as this commission considers a sanction, right off the bat, we believe that at a minimum, a 30-day suspension is warranted, given the prior infractions, as Mr. Wynn's letter lays out in the notice that he furnished to the licensee.
We already suspended it for 30 days. You know, we seem to go progressive discipline here, so if there were to be a violation, I would think it would be even greater than 30 days. But that's if there's a violation.
Again, I would stress to the commission that at, you know, significant suspension on the order of 6 months or greater, if not outright revocation, is warranted. And under Chapter 138, Section 64, this commission is in fact authorized to issue an order of revocation if it finds a single violation. The statute says a violation of Chapter 138 can support an order of revocation. Here we have a licensee with 3 offenses in the space of less than a year. And even if this commission credits everything that the licensee has said in explaining the reason why the alcohol is on the premises, there's no dispute that there is a 3-time violation regarding posting required notices of the ABCC. So for these reasons, the law department would urge this commission to consider a very significant suspension, if not outright revocation of the license.
And Mr. Chairman, the bottle that I'm holding is the one that was purchased on this invoice. I can say with some certainty that with some contact to Horizon Beverage Company, I can prove that this one came out of that case, just by the virtue of the control, the inventory control numbers they have on the alcohol. They could tie it back to that and prove that it's the wine that he purchased through that. I mean, I think that's...
That may be true, but the date of this complaint is April 20, well, the complaint is March 25th. April 24th, we sent this out. It's May 22nd today, 22nd, 23rd. So you've had a month, and at the hearing, you're saying, I can prove this? What's been going on the last month?
Well, I was gone for 2 weeks, and I've only been in contact with my client for less than a week. I was out of the country, and
I'm not saying you, I'm saying Mr. Charlotte. Well, you know, you've had a month, and you're saying that you can prove that you didn't bring, well, where is it? This is the hearing. This is the hearing, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, okay.
But right now, it's his word against my word, and I've been truthful. If you want to trace that, we can do so.
Is there any theory on where it came, the wine came from, if it did not come from Horizon? Is there some alternate source, or is really I mean, it's a strange-looking wine container from my perspective. Are there other places that could have been purchased? I don't think I've seen anything like that at the 38 store.
I'm sure they distribute it to other liquor stores and other
All right.
licensed establishments. I don't.
Works for me. Now, you were thumbing your camera. Do you have any photographs that you can pass out to us?
I can tell you, because I was there, the signs that are required to be there are there. They outline the law. They tell you what the penalties are for first, second, third, fourth, fifth offense. He has the signs. They came in an envelope addressed with the return address from the Alcohol Beverage Commission. They're the signs that are supposed to be there. He had laminated 2 of them, I know, and I told him just to put them all up and pull them back down if you want to laminate them. But there are 6 signs that were hung last night, in addition to the 10 that had been existing.
Were the signs that were required by the ABCC hanging the night of Mr. Noon, or Sergeant Noon and Detective Kandrotis coming to the establishment?
There was some real confusion on my client's part because the signs that were referred to as handwritten, they're actually printed off a computer, and those are the signs that were existing when he purchased the bar. And I think there was a real communication error on my client's part, no one else's fault, about the signs. And he had spoken with some officers about purchasing the signs. He tried to purchase them. He found out, well, you can't purchase them. You have to call them and they give them to you. They don't, there's no way you can buy them.
Because he was found in violation at least one time for not having these ABCC signs. So, you know, just being if I was a bar owner, if I got found in violation of that, the next day I'd call up and say, I need those signs. But you didn't do that?
I didn't know that I had to call ABCC. They told me that I should go and buy those signs.
Okay, but buy, call, whatever, it's been 6 months. It should have been done, correct?
That's true, it should have been done, but I was keep going around calling store here and there, say, where can I purchase this sign? Until I decided, they say, I'm gonna call ABC.
So for 6 months, you were trying to track down these signs? I mean, there are 85, 80 establishments in Lowell. You could go in and ask any other owner, where do you get those signs, correct?
None of them has my sign. You can go to any establishment in Lowell right now. You're not gonna see any of those signs that you have. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you. Because I have done a little research as well too. So that's why I feel like I've been targeted for those signs. So why is it only me that they require to have those signs while other bars still running, a lot of stuff going on there, they're not being investigated but me. See, that's my only problem with that. If you're gonna put a section on me, do it for everybody. Make it fair for everyone.
So you think the Lowell police are singling you out?
Yes, sir.
Mr. LaCrosse,
Yes, sir.
as the lawyer, shouldn't you sort of wander by once in a while and make sure everything's copacetic?
And that's what I did last night. If I had known, as soon as I come back from vacation, I would have been back, over at the place and
How
get them
about
to
4
correct
months
it.
ago?
I don't,
Or are you new at, how long have you been the lawyer?
I've been a lawyer for 14 years.
No, I don't mean how long have you been.
Frankly.
How long have you been a lawyer?
I've been involved since last August with his, but I don't spend most time in Lowell, and I usually am on the highway by 5 o'clock. I don't go down to the bars.
If you'd done a walkthrough, you would have saved your client a lot of trouble.
Well, I can tell you he is in compliance now. I mean, there was some legitimate confusion. I can tell you in speaking with him, having his primary language not being English, there are some communication gaps there. And then that's a real issue. And I know when he was asked if he said the Lowell police were being unfair to him, his response might have been, yes, because of some comments that were made to him by an individual officer, not necessarily the Lowell Police Department as an organization.
But we've had enough experience with you here since you've opened that you understand what everyone's saying.
I understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Charlotte, so you get one of these invoices when you make the purchase. It's reasonable to assume you get this invoice when you purchase any alcohol.
What was, I'm sorry?
The invoice, you receive it as soon as you purchase the alcohol, correct?
No, that's not how it works. When you place the order,
Yep.
they call you. They tell you they're gonna come and deliver a certain day.
Okay, but I'm also, so you purchased this alcohol on 11/23 of 2012? So it's reasonable to assume you would have already received your invoice, correct?
What was that? I'm sorry.
The wine you purchased that you're presenting,
Right.
you purchased that in November of 2012?
Yes. That's when I
Could I assume that you'd already received this invoice by the time the officer?
Yeah.
So, having had all these issues, why couldn't you have presented this invoice to Sergeant Noon when this all happened, just to?
Very good question.
Okay.
Very good question. Last time I had some issue, I provide all the receipt. And you can ask Captain Webb. I'm not hiding anything from Lowell Police. They want receipt, they want to walk through, I invite them to come to the place. Always. And I told them that I have the receipt, but this receipt wasn't kept at the place of the business. They kept it at my house. So I didn't have that exact invoice to show him. And he never, usually they would come and they would take the stuff and they would make a report. you know, and only thing that I told him, I said, I have receipt for that, sir. I have receipt for that.
That was, it's an inaccurate statement. He never offered me a receipt. The only explanation he had for the wine was he bought from home and it wasn't for sale.
Where do you keep your records?
I keep it at my house.
And you didn't tell them that, oh, I can give you this receipt?
I can't give him the receipt anytime because I have one.
Yeah, but did you tell him that night?
He never asked for it, but I said, I do have receipt. When it was last time you came over there, I showed you the receipt. That's the first thing that I got you.
Address the board, not the sergeant.
Excuse me, I got a question.
Exactly.
So, the first receipt says Route 0, Stop 0. So you picked this up from Horizon yourself?
Yes, sometimes if the distributor cannot make it, if the distributor cannot make it to the, if I can't make it, if they cannot make it to you, you have an option to go pick it up. You have an option, I can go to the distributor and pick up the liquor. Yes, I can. That's the option that they gave me.
And you can see on the other invoice, just to follow up
Yeah,
on that
sometimes
thought,
they deliver
there's
to
Route
five
115 S18. It looks like that one was delivered by a...
Yeah, I can pick it up if I need a rush order. They say you can get it because they only deliver certain days. They don't deliver every day. They only deliver certain days, and if I miss that day, and I can talk to my salesman, they say, okay, why don't you go to the office and they'll give you your invoice is right there. They'll give it to you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
It's our understanding that in order to transport the liquor as the licensee has described, that a permit would be required. So offhand, I'm not sure whether the licensee has that permit or not, but that may be an appropriate question to ask the gentleman.
You have a permit to transfer the
We
alcohol?
don't, they don't require any permit. They tell me just come pick it up. And if there is such a thing, I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And you can call the company, the salesman will tell you, yes, they have authorized me to come pick it up.
Looking back on this, we suspended him for 30 days, and, I'm sorry, we dropped the license for 30 days and suspended 14 days, is that right? Is that suspension still good of the
He
action?
has 14 days hanging over his head if he's found in violation.
Okay, it's still there, all right.
That was August 9th, 2012. Well, let's look, if we look at the complaint, first, failure to display alcoholic beverages, Control Commission warning signs. I believe, this is my opinion, I believe he's in violation of that because he didn't have the correct signs up. Right. Number 3, what is the city alleging that, what disorder or disturbance or illegality is Mr. Charlotte alleged to have allowed to take place in his establishment?
Mr. Chairman, that refers to the other violations that are also listed in the complaint, the having the unauthorized alcohol and not having the warning signs.
Okay.
That's sort of a,
That's duplicitous.
Really? Carmen Ortiz. Yeah.
They usually want to stay. Why not they want to stay?
there's no doubt. At this point, that number 2 is absolutely correct. Number 1 is.
No, you say, did the Lowell police confiscate this wine? No, okay, okay. So you say that you can trace this back to Horizon, but we don't know if that's the wine that was. Yeah, there could be some other bottle, yeah. I mean,
Why didn't you seize it that night?
My,
Why didn't you seize it that night? They have seized thing for me before, still.
let the chairman finish, please.
Oh, that's all right, go right
They
ahead.
have this thing for me, and I would never tell the police they cannot take it. I ask them. They come to my place of establishment, they take whatever they want.
No, I know, I'm just saying that bottle, we don't know if that's the wine. That's all I'm asking.
Okay,
I'm not
okay,
saying that
okay. If
you're
there's
doing
something they
anything
can trace it,
underhanded.
the
I'm
code is
just
on it.
saying that we can't prove that that was the wine. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry.
You know, with your history, this, this smells funny. You know, there's surveillance, you go to the back of your car, you take it out, then we have testimony from 2 officers that you told them you brought it from home and it's not for sale, and then you come in tonight and you say that you have an invoice for it. Why wouldn't you, just let me finish and then you, why wouldn't you tell them that evening that you had an invoice, or show them an invoice? Or the next day, when they issued the criminal complaint, when they got the police report, why wouldn't you have brought the invoice down to the police department and say, listen, put this in the record?
I can answer that, because our conversations is because he doesn't communicate that effectively. As soon as I got the receipt, I called the chief's office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I got no calls back because I wanted to provide the chief's office with the documentation prior to tonight's meeting, but I didn't get a call back for 4 telephone messages every day this week. So Mr. Charlotte did reach out, and my apologies, I wish I'd known I was out of the country. I was in Florida, and then I was in the Bahamas, so I would have followed up this a lot sooner had I not been on
No,
vacation.
but even, you weren't out of the country on March 8th. No, on March 8th, why wouldn't you take the invoice down to the Lowell Police Department and say, listen, they came in last night, they said that I was bringing alcohol from home, here's the invoice, will you put it with the police report? Why didn't you do that? Why do you wait till now?
Okay, I didn't know I could have done that, because it is the police, when they tell me something, I listen to it, believe me. And believe me, I have police officers that came to my place of establishment, and the way they talk to me like I was the kid, or even though if I had witness. So I have learned not to, just to obey what they tell me. First thing I usually like to do, I just go to contact my attorney and talk a little bit about it, because I don't want to get nobody in trouble, and I'm not trying to get myself in trouble as well.
Well, I don't know how the other commissioners feel as to whether there's a violation or not.
I think considering your history, I think you could have went to a lot greater length to have basically found a resolution way before tonight, and even that night, I just can't understand how you wouldn't be more prepared for these type of compliance checks, having experienced them before, and even with the signage. I mean, there's only so many times you can say you don't understand, or you tried to do this, but you couldn't figure it out. There's only so many chances you have at that, response. So, I'm not sure what the other commissioners think, but.
If I had known, I would have shown my receipt, like you said, Mr. Chairman. I would have brought my receipt to the police station and said, look, this is my, but I didn't know things like that. I'm a system engineer. I work for Pioneer. I do software and stuff. That's what I do.
Well, at least he's not an electrical engineer. That would scare me.
I mean, if any...
Captain Webb, do we have any indication that Sea Spots is a problem neighbor where it's located?
Over the past couple of years, there have been several incidents. Mr. Charlotte has been before the commission on other violations over the past couple of years. I can't say that recently, within the past several months, that there have been any problems with disturbances there, but there have been problems before, including firearms incidents, shots fired by people who we think were frequenting the bar.
And I know the incident referred to by the captain was, there was, I think, a fellow chased up the street by the Lowell police. He abandoned a weapon. He was arrested, and I believe at the time I did some measurements, but that all occurred about 900 feet from the Sea Spot. I took my wheel and I measured, and where the gun was thrown, I believe it was thrown into a fenced-in area, if I remember correctly. I haven't read the report for about a year. But it was thrown into a fenced-in area that was approximately about 890 feet from his establishment. And he has a very limited amount of frontage, and I think even the neighborhood officers, the patrolmen would testify that, yeah, at the end of the night, he's there helping push people along and make sure that they don't linger and cause unnecessary noise outside of the door, and he's out there pushing them along, like, let's go, let's move it along, and, you know, I'm trying to be a good neighbor, and he does that. And I think the officers would indicate that that is his behavior at the end of the night.
I don't want no problem with my neighbor. I have to work in the morning, so they do, and I understand them. It's unfortunate I have to be there every night, you know, but I would not allow any of my customers to disturb my neighbor, because I got good relationship with my neighbor over there.
I've got a motion. It may not be what anybody wants, but I'd say we vacate the 14 days. And request the police keep an eye on the C-spot. Hope that Mr. LaCrosse will help make sure it's in compliance.
What do you mean vacate the 14 days?
Let the 14 days suspended, let it be upon them. Suspend them for 14 days.
So serve the remaining 14?
I mean,
Find him in violation and have him
Yeah.
serve 14 days?
yep.
Is this for the signage or for?
For both.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah. Nothing.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if the commissioner was finished with his motion, but I wanted to offer the commission the city's view that to the extent that the motion requests consideration of a 14-day suspension, that would fall well below, it would essentially offer no sanction for the gentleman's appearance tonight. And that is completely uncalled for in the city's view. There has to be something, and that something has to be severe. What this commission decides in regard to this complaint really has ramifications for all the license holders within the city, because what he is accused of doing, again for the third time in less than a year, is something that causes him to enjoy an unfair advantage in relation to other license holders within the city. He's getting liquor from an unauthorized dealer. That means that he's essentially doing an end run around rules that other license holders are required to satisfy with respect to how they get their liquor to their establishments. Whatever deal he has worked out with whatever package store he's buying from, he is able to enjoy, or is in a position to enjoy, prices that other license holders probably don't get, particularly given that when the other license holders who are obeying Chapter 138 are ordering from the wholesalers, they are ordering in substantial bulk that costs quite a bit of money. What this license holder is doing an end run around that and enjoying, therefore, an advantage that is not enjoyed by those license holders following Chapter 138.
Could you expand on your economic analysis there about wholesalers, retailers, and the advantage?
Yes, it's those who order from wholesalers buy in bulk and accordingly have to outlay a considerable amount of cash for their purchases. If a license holder goes to the nearby package store and buys a couple of six-packs, as a preliminary matter, that kind of limited volume is typically not permitted by the authorized wholesalers. So the cash outlay is minimal in comparison to what a licensee following Chapter 138 has to expend to get his or her stock for his or her establishment. So if the person doing the end run around 138 is obtaining his or her stock in that manner, then that person is getting a deal that those following Chapter 138 are not getting, because he or she's not fronting the cash that the other licensees are fronting. That license holder can then pass that savings on to his or her patrons and obtain an unfair advantage relative to customers at other establishments.
So you're saying that retail's less than wholesale?
What I'm saying is the person buying from the retailer does not have to front the cash that someone buying from a wholesaler has to front. And in fact, and Sergeant Noon can correct me if I'm wrong, it's my understanding that when the last visit occurred at the premises, the stock on site was very minimal, which I think raises a question as to the extent to which, if we credit the November 23rd invoice, how much of that was sold in the period between November 23rd, 2012 and March 7th, 2013. The sergeant, having been there firsthand, can speak more specifically to the actual stock that he found on site. But we think it's significant that that stock was viewed to be very minimal.
Well, either way, economically or not economically.
Can I just,
Yeah.
with respect to what's now on pending, if the License Commission will show inclined, there is the first decision from last year, which the suspension period expired, or the probationary period expired May 8th. But it's, I think, within the realm of possibility that the License Commission, if they find fault in this instance, could impose the 14-day suspension in that situation as part of the suspension period. In addition, there is a 16-day suspension that's now held in abeyance presently for a total of 30 days, for all intents and purposes, in abeyance, if, being the fact that the licensee is in violation, or should, the board, I should state, is found in violation, all 30 days that could have been, were in effect at the time of the incident and the violations, as opposed to where this incident didn't take place after May 8th. So I think the point being is that 30 days is really hanging over the licensee, just for the virtue of the last year's actions.
In regards to Commissioner Krieger's motion, I wouldn't second it because I don't believe it's tough enough. I believe that there is a violation. I believe there's a violation for selling alcohol not procured from a distributor, and I believe there's a violation for not posting the correct ABCC signs. So I wouldn't second that motion. But if I can get a second, we'll have a vote on it, but.
I'll withdraw it.
Okay.
Let's keep talking.
All right, I'll make a motion that we suspend the license for 60 days. 30 of those days to be held in abeyance for a period of 1 year. But with that 30 days to be served, the 16 days that are currently held in abeyance would be activated. So it would be 46 total days served. So under this violation, I'll just read, under this violation, it would be a 60-day suspension, 30 days to be held in abeyance for 12 months. With this violation, that would kick in the previous 16 days that are held in abeyance to make it a total of 46 days to be served with 30 days to be held. That would be my motion.
So disregarding the May 8th matter with respect to that's disregarded, that's expired, those 2 weeks are expired? Just for the sake of my...
The May 8th of...
we had two complaints, as the board knows, last year.
Right.
In the first instance...
those 2 weeks, that's over 6 months ago. So those would expire, correct?
It would have expired May 8th, 2013. That's six. See, what happens is, if I may just
Yeah.
remind the commission, when Mr. Charlotte and Attorney LaCourse were before the commission in August of 2012,
Right.
it came to the board's attention, License Commission's attention, that Puff Inc. Corporation was dissolved by the Secretary of State's Office, Corporations Division. There was administrative dissolution. By virtue of the fact that the corporation did not have legal standing, and theoretically, technically, you could say that it should not be a licensee. Until that matter of, so the license was suspended indefinitely pending reinstatement of the corporation to the Secretary of State, which the Office of the License Commission received notice on or about November 8th, 2012, that corporation had been reinstated, is my understanding, with the Secretary of State's office. It was then at that point that the suspensions that were on the complaints from the Lowell Police Department on the two instances similar to the one you're dealing with this evening, where it was found, the licensee was found in fault for having purchased alcohol beverages from a source other than a licensed wholesaler. In fact, it was purchased from a local package store. In both instances, the first instance where the license was suspended and there was a 2-week suspension, of that 2-week suspension was suspended. By virtue of the license being now reinstated in November 2012, that suspension now is to take effect. 6 months, hence, you would have it expire May 8th. And similarly, the second complaint on the illegal purchase from a distributor and the signage issue, there was the suspension where 16 days were held in abeyance. And that also started to take effect May 9th, or May 8th, excuse me, November 8th, 2012.
So from just,
So all I'm saying is that if,
That other
with the
one's still-
complaint in the instance where the police, in this most recent matter, had visited the premises and on the May 7th, March 7th, excuse me, of 2013.
Yeah.
It would have been in the realm of time frame where, before the expiration of the 2-week suspension, that was the probationary period, which was to expire May 8th.
So were they, just for clarification, were they closed in August 9th, we voted in these suspensions,
But
but he was closed
he had to
until
close
November?
because his corporation was dissolved.
Right, so he was closed until November when he was reinstated,
Until he notified the office that
and then we started up.
then his suspensions on the complaints from the police department would then take effect.
So the first one we had,
For the 6 months period of probation, it was a 2-week suspension that was suspended, and
then he served 14 days on the other one.
then he served 14 days on the other one.
So then I would like to amend my motion that under this current violation, he serve, the suspension be 60 days, 30 days to be served, and held in abeyance for 1 year. And that the 14 days from the first violation be served, and the 16 days from the second violation be served, for a grand total of 60 days closed, 90 days total.
If the corporation dissolves, we still keep the violation against them? Is the corporation existence ratified, or is it a new corporation? Is there a problem with that?
The only thing I can say is, I've seen it, and I'm seeing it, and I hate to look through the corporation database for the Secretary of State's office, because apparently what Secretary of State's office did about a year ago 2 years ago, is they went through their corporate database. And corporations that were not keeping up with their annual reports, and if they had lapsed filing out annual reports, say for a period of 3 years or greater, they were just saying, you know, this corporation is dissolved. In the case of Puff Inc., after the initial filing of the corporation with the Secretary of State's office, which was on or about 2006, Mr. Charlotte never filed an annual report of condition to keep up with the Secretary of State's office. So they just did their due diligence as they did with any other corporation would be categorized in the same way, dissolved. And then the only way you have to go back to the Secretary of State's office, and if you want to reinstate it, there's a method to doing so, and it's administrative action that they'll accept, and so.
So it's reinstated. So it's like they were in business the whole time because they filed their annual reports.
It is a reinstatement as
It's a
opposed to
reinstatement.
dissolve
Right.
and reform.
Exactly, yep.
Okay.
So that would be my motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those nay?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay?
He's voted no.
I
Yeah.
voted no.
No.
Okay.
Listen, if you can prove that the wine came from a distributor, your attorney will advise you on how you can do that.
I would just like to say one other thing, Mr. Chairman, is it's my client's feeling that, you know, while the signs weren't there, they weren't there. So there is a violation on number 2. I would suggest respectfully that the other 2 violations were not supported by.
Well, there's recourse for that, and you're aware of that.
I'm sorry.
There's recourse for that. If you don't agree with our decision, there's recourse that you can take.
Yes.
Now, if I may, just in terms of is the suspension period to take effect in 2 weeks, or?
You'll have the notice out by next week. So why don't we say, June 15th? It's June 15th.
And then, Mr. Chairman, I will try to get some documentation that ties this particular control number from this to this invoice. I think that's going to be fairly easy to do. I would ask that my client be allowed to submit that information and ask that the disposition be reconsidered in some fashion.
Well, you can send us a letter and we'll take it up if you can provide some evidence. But I would just remind you that the ABCC has a definite appeal period, so I would keep that in mind.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the commission, June 15th is a Saturday. And the fact is that he has to surrender the license and has to be,
So if it's to begin June 15th, if he turns in the license June 14th, right? Well, can he bring it to the police station on Saturday? You guys are open on all 24/7, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
so he would submit his liquor license first thing Saturday morning.
June 14th.
June
June 15th,
15th. June 15th, Saturday, June 15th, the Lowell Police Department, front desk. In the meantime, in the notice of decision, you will get a form or notice to post on the conspicuous place on the front door window.
Okay.
The fact that your license is being suspended for,
I will bring the license to the police station.
to show to the
No
public
problem.
that it's been closed by virtue of the order of the License Commission.
Okay, no problem. Right.
Next on the agenda.
Thank you.
With respect to a number of matters to do with administrative matters, with respect to application has been filed by Azores Restaurant and Lounge LLC, Arnaldo Silva, manager, for an all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license for premises at 490 Central Street. There being 2 unnumbered doors south side of the building, first floor room for restaurant, kitchen, second floor function hall, storage room, basement for storage. Mr. Chairman, is a legal notice to be published in tomorrow's Lowell Sun on May 24th on this matter of the application for public hearing, which has been set per ratification of the board for Thursday, June 6th at 6:30 PM. It requires the applicant to notify abutters, not only touching, but directly across the street. And there's no church, school, or hospital within a 500-foot radius. So I trust the board will have that hearing on the 6th.
Yes.
Okay. Then there's the second application by a corporation known as VSV Inc., DBA Bon Chon Restaurant, Victor Vang is president, for an all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license for premises at 1075 Westford Street, Suite 103, first floor, 3,000 square feet for restaurant and kitchen. A legal notice will be published for Friday, May 24th, for public hearing on this application for a new license for June 6, 2013, in the council chamber, 6:30. This also requires abutters to be notified and across the street, as well as touching. There is no church, school, or hospital within 500 feet. There is a new application, no action has been taken by the office with respect to a transfer of a package store license. The applicant is known as SAPT LLC, Bharat Patel member, limited liability company. It's for the transfer of the all-alcoholic beverage package store license held by a corporation known as BKDE Liquors, Inc., doing business as Lowell Liquors, for premises at 638 Roger Street, units 4 and 5. This requires a publication of a legal notice. It does not require abutters to be notified, just at the publication, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 15A. It's possible that the board, if it's so inclined, to hold that hearing for the meeting of Thursday, June 20th. And if that be the case, publication of the legal notice would be for Friday, June 7th in the Lowell Sun newspaper.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. And then there's the application by The Last Safe, Inc., Stephen H. Perez, clerk, for all alcoholic beverage restaurant license for premises at 160 Merrimack Street, Unit A, which is the basement of the building, which is at the corner of Merrimack and Palmer Street. Again, this application, no action has been taken by the License Commission office. Respectfully ask the commission to consider holding a hearing on this application for Thursday, June 20th. If that be the case, publication of the legal notice to notify abutters, property owners touching and across the street. That would be, publication would be Friday, June 7th.
160 Merrimack, does that put it within 500 feet of the church?
Oh, yes, it'll involve St. Anne's Episcopal Church, it'll involve St. Joseph's the Worker Shrine, and it will involve the Lowell High School.
The Azores Restaurant just missed on touching the backside of the Episcopal Church on Gorham Street.
I did do the due diligence with respect to asking the city engineer's office to check, and nothing came back.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's beyond the 500-foot radius. It's the nearest corner to the nearest corner of each building. That's how it's measured. Okay, and then we have communications from the Superintendent of Police, Deborah Friedel. We have a number of actions taken by the Lowell Police Special Investigations with respect to compliance check. There are 12 complaints, starting with DNY Corp., doing business as Jerry's Food Store, number 2, 207 University Avenue, Bhupender Patel manager, the malt beverage and wine only store. TLC Package Store, 277 School Street, Naseen Chun manager, all alcoholic beverage package store. L&M Liquors, 424 Chelmsford Street, Leona M. Mendonca manager, the all alcoholic beverage package store. Amal Fuel Inc., doing business as Drumhill Golf, 1299 Westford Street, Richard Ulkery, manager, malt beverage and wine only store. Joe and I, doing business as R&M Liquors, 815 Lakeview Avenue. Michael Rodriguez, manager, all alcoholic beverage package store. Lucky B Inc., 185 Woburn Street. Peter Vogzoglu, senior manager, the malt beverage and wine only store licensee. Chuck's Variety Inc., doing business as Chuck's Variety. Bella Mias, manager, malt beverage and wine only store. Compound Tom Market, doing business as Appleton Liquors, 171 Appleton Street. Cheng Tel, manager, all alcoholic beverage package store. Sansine Inc., doing business as Pacific Liquors, 421 Central Street. Subpal M, manager, the all alcoholic beverage package store. Again, DNY Corp., DBA Jerry's Food Store number 2, 207 University Ave. Bhupender Patel, manager, malt beverage and wine only store. LNS Liquors Inc., 2 Dover Street. Bun Song Chung, manager, the all alcoholic beverage package store. And Rosenblum Corporation, doing business as Ornelas Liquors, 1012 Gorham Street. Sanjita Patel, manager. Each store had a person under the age of 21 enter the premises, request to purchase alcohol beverages, and allegedly none of the store clerks asked for picture ID or any form of positive identification prior to making the sale.
Okay, why don't we, they're gonna be, I think there are gonna be some quorum issues that we're gonna have going forward, so let's just get I know that for the next couple meetings anyways, we're not gonna be able to hear DNY Corp., L&M Liquors, or Compound Thom Market, Inc., because we won't have a quorum to hear those 4. So why don't we just put those off for right now? And then it seems like there's 8 left. So why don't we do 4 at the next meeting and 4 at the following meeting? Okay? So we'll do TLC Package Store. It will be June 6th? Yeah, June 6th for TLC Package Store. June 6th for Amel Fuel Inc., DBA Drumhill Golf. June 6th for R&M Liquors. And June 6th for Lucky B Inc. And then June 20th will be Chuck's Variety Inc., Sashinshi Inc., DBA Pacific Liquors, LNS Liquors, and Rosenblum Corporation, DBA Ornelas Liquors. We'll put those on for the 20th, and that way we'll... And then the other 4 we'll deal with when we know we're gonna have a quorum.
Yeah, DNY Corp., the 2 complaints there, and 1 for L&M Liquors and 1 for Compound Tom, Captain, will be held up pending a quorum.
I'm gonna have to recuse myself, and I know we're gonna have some issues with getting people here.
And we have a communication also from the Superintendent of Police, Deborah Friedel, dated May 13th. Allegations of misconduct against the Middle Street Village Inc., doing business as the Village Smokehouse, 9298 Middle Street. Alan F. Kaplan, manager, the all alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee. Date of alleged violations is April 25th. Violation alleged is Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, sale or delivery of alcohol beverage to a person under 21 years of age. And also Massachusetts Commonwealth of Massachusetts Regulation 204 CMR 2.05, violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, and violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 94C, which is Controlled Substance Act. Does Captain want to offer anything on that with respect to the commission might have to do something with this differently, or?
No, not on this complaint.
Okay.
So we have to schedule that for a hearing?
We do, but I know there's some issue with respect to
Getting the drug certs back? Is that what we're...
Massachusetts State Police Lab.
Yes, for scheduling purposes, I should probably let you know that the results aren't expected back from the lab for 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. So why don't we just wait till we get the results back and then schedule it? Would that make sense?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
So
We'll just wait until we get the,
hold it up
Hold it,
until we
yeah.
get the,
yeah.
one way or the other.
Divide it and deal with this underage drinking earlier.
If you wanna do that, we can do that and bifurcate it. We can do that.
So if you wish to take up just the one aspect to this complaint, in my notice of hearing, I would make it clear that the commission would be only addressing the one, not,
Sure, we can do that. Yeah.
Does our legal office have a thought?
All right.
Mr. Chairman, could we hear both complaints together because it would be the same witnesses rather than to bring the witnesses as the two separate hearings?
Okay, then we'll just wait.
Keep it together.
That's fine.
so
We'll just schedule it once we get back from the police department that they're ready to go.
okay, great. Okay, for consideration by the License Commission, number 16 on our agenda, to permit the sale and delivery of alcohol beverages during polling hours by retail package stores in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 33, for the Senate election scheduled for June 25th, 2013, for the city preliminary election for September 24th, and the city election for November 5th, 2013. It just so happens that in 1971, Massachusetts legislature amended Section 33, but allowed for on-premise licensees to be able to be open during polling hours on election days, but it did not wish to include the off-premise licensees, package stores and retail stores that sell. So the only means legally for the package stores to continue operation on those days that are designated as election days is for the licensing board to permit them to do so.
It was a good catch. After 42 years, the city is catching up. So, I mean, I see no problem with them being open on election day. I don't know if anyone else has an issue with that.
I don't think anybody's buying elections with booze right now.
No.
The only thing I have been told was that possibly there would be some towns that may have their election bowling places in places where they sell alcohol beverages, like that.
I think that would cure voter apathy. Start taking that out.
I
So,
move that we give the waiver.
second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
And last is a motion by Commissioner Cliff Krieger for addition to methods of meeting notification, to wit, opinion from the city solicitor on legality of using email as supplemental method of meeting and agenda notification, request of the MIS department, an opinion as to best way to maintain email group, and request of the MIS department an opinion on suitability of city's webpage for residents to request being added to License Commission email group. Is that about right?
Sounds good to me.
I mean, I personally think it's not a good idea, but I will second your motion to get the opinion. But, you know, people have access, I believe. You can go on the website and get the agendas. I don't know why we have to make a special list to send it out to them. I think it's just added work for the secretary. But I will second the motion and see what the opinion is from the MIS department and see what it is.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, that's all.
And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved. See you in 2 weeks.